So if you've already read the latest chapter of Solo Leveling that released yesterday, then you already probably know about the news that came out. It is the conclusion of Season 1. Basically, the latest chapter is the final chapter of Season 1, and it's going to be the final chapter of Solo Leveling for a while. We don't really know when the series is going to start back up again. Obviously, the writer is going to be taking a break, which I think many can agree this is a really good thing, and because of how the world is right now, I think it's best if our, favorite writers, etc. also take breaks because they're at risk too. So because of all this, it's probably going to be a bit until we see a continuation of Solo Leveling. At the earliest, I'll probably say we might see it maybe in about a month, maybe 2 months, but judging by how other webtoons have gone on break that I've read in the past, how long it usually takes, typically it can be around maybe 4, maybe even 6 months, which, I mean, it's a long time, but to get your thoughts together, to be able to get the artwork together, etc., it makes sense that it's going to take a little bit of time. And let's be honest, Solo Leveling is an absolutely beautiful series, and just seeing the amount of quality that is within the artwork of this series, it makes sense why it might take a little bit longer with a break to probably, I guess prep everything to get ready for a long run with Season 2, because technically this conclusion here is an insane conclusion. What we just got with Chapter 110 is insane. We got massive setup for upcoming events, and I'm really excited to see where it's going to go, and I'll talk about it in a second, but I just think that if there was any time to really put Solo Leveling on break, now is the time. It's the perfect time. We got the conclusion to the Ant arc. We have, Jin basically finally reached the status of an S-rank hunter. He's gonna be probably moving up into maybe a national rank hunter. He has a lot on his plate now. He's made a lot of progress, so like I said, it just makes perfect sense to kind of wrap up the series for here right now and wait for maybe a few months or so until Season 2 starts up. But okay, let's get right into a lot of the details that has happened throughout these chapters since the last time I did a video. As you all know, I usually take a break from Solo Leveling for a few weeks and then I get back on it and start reading it again, because that's just what I do. Solo Leveling's chapters are relatively simple, but they're very fun and amazing, and so that's why I've kind of, waited a few weeks if this is your first time watching a video from me for this series. So, one thing I do want to mention, actually, is that I noticed that there has been a major rise in Solo Leveling's popularity. Has anyone noticed this? Like, everyone on social media is now talking about this series. A lot of big YouTubers are talking about this series, and it makes me very happy. It makes me very happy to see Solo Leveling getting a lot of popularity. It's moving on up, and, because of this popularity, as I've talked about many times in the past through my, Tower of God videos, or through these videos I make on Solo Leveling, as the more and more people jump on board of this series, it's very likely that, there could be an anime. And, I mean, I know this isn't in the same webtoon section as, let's say, Tower of God, Unordinary, etc., but it doesn't change the fact though that if something like Tower of God can get an anime, then something like Solo Leveling can too, maybe one day. And I just really think the popularity that this series has been getting has really been going on up. A lot of people are talking about it, and it makes me just so freaking happy, and I think many that are fans of this series are probably jumping for joy like, yes, 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 because it's just amazing to see the series getting the attention it deserves, webtoons in general getting attention it deserves, because of just how beautiful they really can be and unique. But okay, I'm sorry, I've wasted your time long enough. Let's talk about the chapters. So okay, obviously I should talk about the Ant King, which is Biru. Hopefully I am pronouncing his name right. I haven't actually talked about content since, Jin actually was trying to resurrect him, and I was kind of talking about maybe this creature talking to him. I was like, what's going on here? So Jin managed to give the man a name, which is called Biru, and the Ant actually can full-on speak, and apparently because of his rank being general, it's very likely that all of the shadows underneath Jin one day will approach that level to be able to speak. Now this goes along with what I've already talked about in the past, is that it makes me worried, since technically his shadows can now start to speak, could they potentially turn on him? Now, obviously, according to Biru in chapter like 107, he states that he just feels honored to be reborn and reawakened through his master's power, which is Jin, so he has no hard feelings. However, we don't really necessarily if these feelings can change over time. We don't really know exactly how far these shadows can learn and get stronger. If they can learn how to speak, obviously they have intelligence, and if they cannot turn against Jin, is it because they're just perfect slaves to Jin? And, I mean, he's technically like a necromancer, and so when you really think about what a necromancer is, they are supposed to bring the dead back and then hold them to their will where they can't, like, fall out of line. So when you really think about it, you know, Jin still is acting like a necromancer, but it makes you wonder if maybe some of these shadows might one day turn against him because they might harbor bad feelings. Who knows? But, not to rehash what I've talked about in the past, the point is that Biru is absolutely insane. He wipes out a massive chunk, or pretty much the remaining ants that are left on the island by himself, just going around eradicating them, which is just insane. His speed, his strength. Jin now has this creature on his side, and we've already seen that this creature is also capable of healing thanks to taking out one of the hunters, so we do know that he is also technically a healer, part of Jin's group. So overall, this is a massive power up to Jin's army, and this is one of the highest ranks that Jin currently has in his arsenal, so he got a major upgrade. Like, he's not just now reaching into the realm of, let's say, a national rank hunter. He has creatures that are S ranks a part of his crew that can easily wipe out other S ranks like nothing. Like, Biru himself could wipe out pretty much majority of S ranks within this world by himself just because of how strong he is. So yeah, it's kind of ridiculous to think about. But okay, big thing, though, is because of all of that, the arc has obviously reached its conclusion, and we kind of see the aftermath, how people are reacting to what Jin did, his power, to just criticism as well, and it makes perfect sense. When you look at everything that's happened throughout the arc and why Jin is getting praised but also criticized, it all falls into place. I mean, obviously people are happy that Jin put an end to the conflict. He put an end to all the ants on the island, and he got vengeance for those that have fallen. You know, he did a good deed, but many start to wonder, why didn't he join the raid in the first place? Why did people have to die in this raid, like this last raid, before he jumped in? Why did he deny it the first time around? And obviously there's a lot of criticism and people are pointing fingers at him, and at the end of the day, it's probably not going to really do much to hinder Jin at all, but even then, Jin is now a public figure. He's a big figure now in the public eye. He represents a huge chunk of the world now, so, you know, what actions he does or how he reacts to things could easily cause people to have a certain impression, so obviously criticism just comes with the territory. So it does make me wonder, though, if Jin is going to start becoming a little bit more for the public, or if he's going to continue to be with his actions of just doing his own little thing, whatever he wants to do. I highly doubt he's really going to change much, but I just wonder, because now that he's in a spot now as an S rank that is pretty much the best of his peers, you know, he has a responsibility, so I'm looking forward to seeing where that one's going to go, like how, you know, Jin is going to handle this new spotlight that he's got, now that people know more about his ability, his summons, etc., and, you know, he was bringing them back and, you know, fighting this entire S-rank dungeon break by himself, pretty much. You know, people are going to be now weary of him, and obviously we've already seen the start of people trying to scout him because of the Ant Island raid, which that gets into the next segment. So obviously, because of it being live broadcasted, everybody got to see what Jin did. A lot of different countries are trying to come after Jin and get a hold of him, and obviously America is wanting to get their hands on Jin and have it to where he can join them. And you see throughout like chapter 108 and 109 where they're pretty much scouting him, trying to get him to join them, and they use a lot of different methods to try to entice him, but one method in particular that does work is the ability to increase Jin's power by 20 to even 30%. Now, we know how Jin is. When it comes to the origin of this story right at the beginning, Jin has always been seeking to get stronger. He was trying to find money for his family, a cure for his mother, and I've talked about how technically his objective has been completed. But when you really think about everything that's been going on, there's a lot more that's been set up with his father, to the system. Now he has responsibility technically to, you know, the entirety of the people in the world now because of what he's done. So there's a lot more he has to deal with now besides just those little goals he had in the past. So seeing him wanting to be enticed to get 20-30% increase, it makes sense. The thing though is that when he tries to get this power from this special, you know, hunter, she's not really able to do anything because she's like, you have no limits. Now, this is something we knew, but it's now officially confirmed. See, when it comes to an RPG, we all know that there's usually level caps. Most games usually have a level cap, and you can't really exceed that level. So, example, let's just say, let's take an example from Diablo, okay? Diablo 2. If you level up to, let's say, level 99, that is the max level. You might be able to find better gear to get stronger, but overall, you do eventually reach a threshold. You cannot pass that threshold. And a lot of games are quite like this, a lot of RPGs, etc. You just cannot pass that threshold once you reach it. And, you know, many have speculated, myself included, that Jin might eventually reach a threshold. There might be an actual limit to what level he can reach, and maybe how much he could pump into one stat, because when it comes to games as well, stats usually have a, you know, a hard cap too. Let's think of, let's say, something like Dark Souls. Dark Souls has a hard cap of 99 in each stat, but, you know, it has also a soft cap, and, you know, Jin might have already been hitting the soft cap, like the soft cap for a while now, and he might one day approach the hard cap. But now, thanks to what this woman just said to him, it's very clear that he has no limit. So what does this fundamentally mean besides obviously no limit? Well, it pretty much means now that Jin will infinitely grow stronger. There is no maximum. He will continuously rise in power until the day he dies, or the day he just stops caring about leveling up. And this is scary for a lot of different reasons, because Jin's already pushing into the realm of, like, godly. Like he's already godly, but he's pushing into a realm that is just, no man really should have that much power. And if it continues, one day he might get to a level to where maybe one swipe of his strength could literally wipe out a massive chunk of the planet. You get my point. Theoretically, if he can indefinitely get stronger, there's no stop to it, he could eventually become like a planet buster. So that's scary to think about. And it does make me wonder if that will come into play with the story, since now we know that he has no limit. So it could get into the realm of, like, this man being like a Dragon Ball Z character, strong as them. I don't know if the series will go to that extent, but like I said, it's theoretically possible because of the stuff that has been revealed in these chapters. Which, here's the thing I want to talk about. Since we now found out about this hunter that can raise the power to 20 to 30%, that's actually a major boost. And it makes sense, though, why America is hiding her, too, though, because she is such a critical individual. For her to be able to boost individuals and increase their strength, that is an insane ace in the hole. To be able to have something like that to boost people that you bring to your side, it obviously entices people, because the normal individuals throughout this world are under the impression that once you reach your limit, you're at your limit. You can't really level up past like a certain threshold. Once you awaken, that's it. Or reawaken, that's it. But she has the ability to reawaken somebody, forcibly reawaken them, increase their strength. It makes sense why a lot of people would want to join America, etc. A lot of, you know, S ranks would leave just to be able to go there to get that increase in strength, because they thought they hit, you know, a threshold. So yeah, it's like a really interesting development we got in these chapters. And I guess the last thing I want to get into is the final chapter, which sets up for these new hunters, which I'm assuming national rank hunters, that are probably going to start messing with Jin to try to recruit him or whatever. And these are probably the best of the best hunters, and probably Jin's going to need them as well to probably bring down his upcoming opponents, because there was set up in the chapters that there is monsters that are able to open warps and close like warp gates and all that without even worrying, without even being really detected, and they're searching for something. They were at the Ant Island as well. So there's a lot of question marks right there, and it makes you wonder, like, what's going to happen with that. They're probably insanely strong. I mean, they were literally opening up gates and then closing gates. That's a power that we've seen constantly. Are these the individuals that are opening up these gates that are causing these different raids? If so, that's technically the main enemies. These are the enemies of the story, and, you know, it's not even getting into maybe even the system. We have yet to even discuss that. And what did, you know, the Madam see within Jin as well in the darkness? Was that the system that she saw? Was that face that she saw the system? Was it Jin? What was it really? So many questions. But okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And I love you guys. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.